about Savasana. Savasana is such an important posture. One teacher told me that during Savasana, your body is absorbing all of the things that you just learned, and that actually taking Savasana at the end of class is the most important thing you do, and that if you're just going to have one pose during a day that you come into, it should be Savasana. Now, of course, Savasana is not a workout, and most of us, me included, do yoga partially because it's a workout. It is a connection between your mind and your body that also calms anxiety and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and relaxation mode. So yoga is more than just physical exercise, but it is physical exercise, and Shavasana is not. But nevertheless, Shavasana is really super important because it's a transition period from the active portion of the practice to the rest and relaxation mode. And it is one of the reasons why yoga is so relaxing and calms down your anxiety. So just like every other pose, you want to make sure you're doing it right. The most important thing in Shavasana is to be really super comfortable. So you're welcome to use props to help you get there. I have a couple blocks. You might not have blocks at home. Maybe you do. They're pretty cheap on Amazon, just a few dollars each. But also during Shavasana, especially since we're all at home now, you can use some pillows and stuff like that if you have them around. Traditional Shavasana is just flat on your back. Of course, we all know that one, laying down flat on the back. But there's still some things that you want to be careful of. So when you come into Shavasana, you want to sort of lift your upper back up off the mat and then pull the shoulder blades down the back, just like we talk about sliding the shoulder blades down the back in so many other poses. You really want to have that feeling where your shoulders are down. If you take Shavasana with your shoulders up in your ears, that's going to be really uncomfortable, cause a lot of pain. And then you sort of lift your head up and bring your chin in towards your chest so that your neck is fully extended there. And I always tell my students to rock their head side to side and then just let it fall back to its natural center point. I remember when I first started doing yoga and I was like, is my head comfortable? What's going on with my neck? And a lot of us carry a lot of anxiety, a lot of pain in the neck. We're using it all day long to look around. So sometimes it's hard to tell, is my neck relaxed? Am I holding tension there? Does it have a kink in it? I don't really know. So that's one good way to sort of let your neck and head decide where it wants to be by itself, just letting it rock side to side. You can have your hands by your sides or on your heart and your belly, wherever they feel the most comfortable. And then with your legs, you can also bring your feet up and let your knees fall in towards each other. Put a block underneath your back there. Sometimes that feels really good because we're always hunched over. And this gives you just a tiny bit of lift in the back to the point where you're counteracting that feeling of being hunched over at the desk or in the car, wherever it is. And it gives your back a little bit of rest right there. You can also, if you're really feeling some pain in the back from being hunched over, you can also raise the block up to that second height and stick it right underneath your waistband. And remember that you can choose to start with one of these variations of Shavasana, and then halfway through, if you like, you can switch it over, lower the back if you've had enough of that, or take that block out completely. One more thing that feels really good when I'm doing Shavasana on my own is to have a pillow underneath my legs. Now, a really big, thick pillow is the best there because it really gives your legs support, and it gives a little bit of release in the lower back. So your lower back, once you lift those legs up, has just a little bit of a curve right there. And sometimes that's just enough to start to make you feel really super comfortable here. One last variation of Shavasana that I don't have a good wall to give an example on here, but I'll do it against my speaker, is called Viparita Kirani, which means legs up the wall. And that's where you slide your mat right up to a wall, and then you push your hips up to the wall and stick your legs going straight up the wall. So there's actually two variations of this. I'll just show you both of them against the speaker here. The first one would be to have your legs just going straight up like that. And you can have your hands out to the sides or over here, or again, on your belly and your heart. And the second variation is a variation of Baddha Konasana, where you bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open out wide towards the sides. This particular Shavasana option gives your legs a lot of release, lets all the blood flow back down towards your heart, and it feels really, really great as well. So if you want to take that option today, you're welcome to take it. I really like that, and I try to give my students that option every so often as well in class, because it just feels so great. So today we're going to have a slow stretch class. I used to do this on Fridays at the gym, and I think it's a nice thing to have a break from a faster Vinyasa flow class and take a nice slow stretch class once a week. So we're going to start on our backs in Shavasana. Any of those options is fine. Just find your most comfortable laying down position. Get really super comfortable. Feel the earth supporting you. Start to call attention to your breath. Beginning to deepen and lengthen your breath. Stretch the breath out. One more way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system that's responsible for rest and relaxation is to try to lengthen your exhale so that it's just a little bit longer than your inhale. You can try that now. And find your yoga breath, the Ujjayi breath. This is the ocean sounding breath. Listen in the back of your throat for the ocean. Constricting the throat just a tiny little bit. Imagine that you're fogging up a mirror with your lips sealed, a sort of a ha sound inside of your head. Let the sound of your breath fill your mind completely, pushing away all other thoughts of the outside world, letting go of anything that happened earlier or any plans for later. And just be fully present in this moment, here and now, inside of your body. Start to do a body scan. From the crown of your head, working your awareness down, one body part at a time. Notice how your face is feeling today, your facial muscles, and your jaw. Move through your neck, into the shoulders, down through the arms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. And then work your way down your spine, through your hips and into your legs, knees, ankles, and toes. As you go through each body part, just make a mental note of how you feel today. Noticing anything that's not quite right, any sore spots, and remind yourself of any injuries you have that may affect your abilities. Remember that you can always take a break or modify any pose to suit your body, respecting the boundaries of your own body, your own limitations, and your own abilities. Take a few more deep, full breaths here. Blink your eyes open. If your legs aren't already straight out, bring your legs straight out and then bring your arms overhead. Take a deep breath in, stretching your arms and legs really long, like a big good morning stretch. And release as you breathe out, relaxing into the ground. 2 more times with the breath. Inhale, stretching your arms and legs out really long. Exhale, release into the ground. Last one, big breath in, stretch as long as you can. And release as you breathe out. Bring your knees pointing up towards the sky, feet about hip width distance apart. Let's come into 3 bridge poses, keeping the hands stretched overhead. On an inhale, rooting down through the feet, lift your hips up. Exhale, slowly release back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. 2 more times, going with the breath, lifting the belly up as you breathe in. Exhale, gently lowering back down. Last one, feel that nice stretch in the belly. Let's come into a supine pigeon pose. Lift your right foot up, cross your right ankle over the left knee. And with your right hand, you can push that right knee away, or you can reach your right hand in between the legs. Left arm comes around the outside. Interlace your fingers either outside the front of the leg or inside the crease of the knee right there. Whichever one feels better is fine. And then pull your legs in towards your chest. Push your tailbone back down flat on the mat so that you can feel opposite forces working on the hip. Pushing and pulling. And release your legs and switch sides. Lift your left foot up. Left foot crosses over the right knee. With your left hand, you can either push the left knee away or reach your left hand in between the legs. The right arm comes around the outside. Same options here. Reaching all the way around or just tucking your fingers in the crease of the knee. Pull that leg in towards your chest and push your tailbone back down flat on the mat. Release. Plant your feet on the mat, nice and wide. And then open out your arms in a T, keeping your feet where they are. Gently drop your knees down together towards the right. They might not reach all the way to the ground. That's okay. You can bring your gaze over to your left hand. Lift your knees back up to center, breathing in. Let's come into a cannonball. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, lifting your forehead up to your knees. Squeeze everything into a tight little ball. Release your head back down to the mat. Find your kneecaps with your hands and do some circles with the knees. That nice gentle massage on the lower back against the floor. And find circles going the other way. Release your hands from your knees. Tuck your fingers inside the creases of both knees and rock and roll on your back, along your spine. And make your way into a seat. Coming into easy pose. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long. Relax your head and neck down, round out through the back. On your next inhale, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest, and bring your hands to your lap. If you are uncomfortable here, you can also have a block underneath your hips, just sitting up a little bit higher. Sometimes helps if your legs feel really tight there. Reach down and lift up your front leg, whichever leg's in the front. Cradle that leg with the same arm, same side arm. Interlace the fingers of your opposite hand in between your toes. And do some circles with your foot, getting some blood flowing through the toes and the ankle, leg. And find circles going in the opposite direction. Release that foot down, grab the other leg, cradling the leg with the arm on the same side. Interlace the fingers with the opposite hand in between the toes. And do some nice, and find circles in the opposite direction. Release that foot down so that your legs are crossed the opposite way, bringing that second leg out in front now. Bringing your hands to your lap, do some gentle circles with the neck. These can be big or small circles, fast or slow. Just listen to your body, whatever feels right to you. And find circles going the other way. Bring your head back to center. Let's do some circles with the shoulders. Inhale, lifting your shoulders up. As you breathe out, pull your shoulders down and back. A couple more times. Inhale to lift. Exhale, pulling those shoulder blades down the back. One last time. And feel them locking down. That's where you want them to be. In downward facing dog. Nice, comfortable position, locked down the back. And coming into a twist. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Exhale, twisting around towards the right. Left hand crosses over the right knee. Right hand comes behind you. Take a deep breath in, lengthening the spine. And go deeper into your twist as you breathe out. Inhale, coming back up to center, hands float up overhead. Exhale, twisting to the left, left fingers behind you. Right hand crosses over the left knee. Lengthen the spine on a breath in. And go deeper into your twist as you breathe out. Come back up to center, hands float up. Big breath in. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Make your way to your hands and knees, tabletop. Rolling over your legs or swinging your legs around to the side. And start to move through cat-cow. As you breathe in, drop your belly down, roll your shoulders back, bring your gaze up or forward. On your exhales, round out through the back, push your back up towards the ceiling, one vertebrae at a time, and relax your head and neck down. Keep moving just like that with your breath. Come back to a neutral spine. Coming in to thread the needle. Lift the right arm high. Take a deep breath in, stacking the shoulders. Exhale, send your right arm through underneath the left. Come to rest on the right shoulder and the right cheek. With your left hand, you can crawl your fingertips forward. Get a nice stretch in that left arm. You can wrap your left hand back behind you, reaching towards the right hip. Or you can leave your left hand where it was on the mat and drop your left elbow down. If you want an extra core challenge here, lift your left leg up. Push through your heel and flex your toes. See how high you can get that leg. This is definitely a balance challenge, so if you start to feel wobbly, just release your left elbow back down to the mat. That'll help you stabilize. Take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, drop your left knee back down to the mat. Bring your left hand right next to your face. Unwind on a breath in, pushing through your left hand. Lift your right arm high. Give your wrist a couple turns here. And set your right hand back down on the mat. Switching sides. Left arm comes up. Deep breath in. Exhale, send the left arm through underneath the right and come to rest on the left shoulder and the left cheek. With your right hand, you have those same three options. Crawl the fingers forward, get a nice stretch through the arm. Wrap your right hand back behind you, reaching towards the left hip for a little bit of a twist. Or leave your right hand where it was on the mat and drop your elbow down to the mat. If you want that extra challenge, lift your right foot high, push through your heel and flex your toes. If you ever feel wobbly, just drop the right elbow back down to the mat. If you roll over here with that right hand lifted up, don't worry, I did that a number of times before I figured out how to keep from rolling over. It's a very common thing to happen. Take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, release, drop your right knee back down to the mat. Bring the right hand right next to the face. Unwind on a breath in, pushing through your right hand. Lift your left arm high. Give your wrist a couple turns. And set your left hand down on the mat. Coming into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up. Find your nice, comfortable downward facing dog here. You really want to feel supported by the ground, both under your hands and your feet. Fingers should be open nice and wide here. Pushing down through the pads at the ends of the fingers and the curve at the bottom of the palm. You can almost picture a circle that you're making with the fingers and the curve on the palm. Push down through that circle. Heels are reaching towards the floor, but they don't need to touch, just going in that direction. You can move around, bending one knee and then the other. Get the blood flowing through the legs and the hips. Check in on your shoulders. Make sure your shoulders are moving down your back, out of your ears. Heels reaching towards the floor. They don't ever need to touch. Head and neck just dangling down towards the ground. Lift your right foot high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, send your right knee forward, coming into pigeon pose. Drop that right knee down to the mat. Your lower right leg here should be reaching towards, coming parallel to that front short edge of the mat. It doesn't need to be perfectly parallel. It might not even look very close at all. You just want to have that lower leg coming towards the mat instead of, as opposed to having the knee pointing straight towards that mat. Pull your right knee outside of your hips as much as you can. Find that comfort zone. Flex your right toes to protect your knee. Push your chest up. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, walk your hands forward, lowering down the chest over the front leg. You can find a block here underneath your forehead, or just relax your forehead down on the mat. If this position is pretty uncomfortable for you, you can also use some blocks underneath your hips. Sometimes it feels good to have a block underneath that back left hip. And it can also feel good to have a block under the right hip, the bent knee. You can just play around with that and see what gives you the most support. Take some deep breaths here. On your next inhale, lift your chest up. Bring your weight over to the right and swing your left leg around, coming into double pigeon pose or fire log. Double pigeon is where your knees and ankles are stacked. Left ankle on top of the right foot, left foot on top of the right knee. Left knee on top of the right foot. We're folding forward over the feet here. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, fold forward. You don't need to get down very far. Just find your edge. You can walk your fingertips out. Try to keep your spine really long. And once you find your edge, relax your head and neck, rounding out through the back. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest. Switch your legs, bringing the right leg on top now. Right ankle on top of the left knee. Right knee on top of the left ankle. One more time, folding over the feet. This might feel really different. Another modification here, if your knees are really popping up and you feel like you can't get down very far, you can also use the blocks here. However you like them. Like that, maybe just one, maybe just that one. Whatever feels good. One more time, folding over the feet. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold forward. If this is as far as you can go, that's fine. Walk your hands out, keeping your back really long, and relax your head and neck down. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest, and come into pigeon on the other side. Bring your weight over to the left. Swing the right leg around and back. Push that left lower leg coming towards parallel with the short end of the mat. Peek back at your right leg, making sure it's pointing straight back behind you. Left knee comes out to the side of the hips. Push your chest up, take a deep breath in. Exhale, walking your hands forward, lower down your chest. Relax your head and neck. You can find a block here under your forehead, maybe under one of your hips. Take some nice, strong, deep breaths. On your next inhale, lift your chest up. Tuck your right toes under. And lift your left leg up to the sky. Open up the hip, bend the knee back. You can bend and straighten that leg a couple times. Maybe drop your knee down, do some circles, getting out any kinks you feel in the hip. And find circles going the other way. And then release your left foot back down to the mat. Since we didn't come out of pigeon on the other side, let's do the same thing with the right. Lift your right heel high. Open up your hip. Bend your knee back. Bend and straighten that leg a couple times. And do some circles, getting to the hip. Making sure to go both ways. And then release. Drop your right foot down to the mat. Open up your feet. Bring your pinky toes to touch the outside edges of the mat. Let's come into a down dog twist. If you like, you can bring your hands a little bit closer to the feet. Reach your right hand out and grab onto your left leg, anywhere that feels good. Ankle, calf, or thigh is fine. Bring your gaze underneath your left arm, and then check in with your hips. Sometimes the hips want to lean over to the left, push them back, so they're centered right between the feet. Release your right hand. Look forward to set it back down in its spot. And your hips back to center. Release your left hand, look forward, set it back down, and then make your way back to your normal downward facing dog. Let's do some sun salutations. Bend your knees, look forward to your hands, take a big breath in. Exhale, hop or step between your hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold as you breathe out. Rising up to standing on a breath in, bend your knees, roll your spine nice and slow, hands float up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch. Inhale, hands up. Interlace your fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the right. Back to center on a breath in. And to the left as you breathe out. Inhale, coming to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Straight back up, breathing in. Exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Keeping a nice long spine as you go down. Half lift to breathe in, bring your torso parallel to the ground. Exhale, chaturanga, plant your hands, hop or step back to your high plank, up or push up. Chaturanga, you can take a double dip if you want. You don't have to, we're taking a nice slow stretch class today. Tiger Cobra, breathing in. And downward facing dog as you breathe out. Second sun salutation, side stretch going to the left first this time. Bend your knees, look forward to your hands, take a big breath in. Exhale, hop or step right between the hands, forward fold. Half lift as you breathe in. Forward fold, breathing out. Rising up to standing on a breath in, let your arms dangle down until your head comes up and then bring them up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Side stretch to the left first. Inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down towards the left. Up to center, breathing in. Exhale. Straight back up to breathe in. Exhale, folding forward. Take your whole breath to come down. Half lift, breathing in. Chaturanga on your breath out. Plant your hands, hop or step back to your high plank. Drop your knees down to the mat if you like. Lower down halfway. Don't go below your elbows. Up, Tiger Cobra, breathing in. If your legs are on the ground, keep a little bend in the elbows. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. Between your hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in, pull shoulders down the back. Fold forward as you breathe out. Inhale, coming up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Straight back down. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, diving forward, keeping a nice long spine. Half lift to breathe in. Chaturanga as you breathe out. Tiger Cobra to breathe in. Pull the chest through the shoulders. Downward facing dog on your exhale. Bend your knees, lift your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step right between the hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Folding forward as you breathe out. Rising up to standing on a breath in, float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do some balancing poses. Starting with tree pose today. If you're feeling wobbly, you can always grab onto a piece of furniture or a wall somewhere. Bring all weight to your left foot. Right foot's pointing straight out to the side. You've got 3 options for your foot placement. You can keep your toes on the ground. Set the sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise it up, bringing the heel in that little curve right underneath the knee. Or coming all the way up on your thigh. Find your leg balance to start. Make sure your toes are pointing straight down and that knee is pointing straight out to the side. You can stay here with your hands on your hips or bring your hands to heart center. Or you can include the arms as well. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Notice the arch of the standing foot. You have an arch going from the front to the back of the foot and also one going from one side to the other. So if you bring your awareness into your foot, you can almost feel the 4 corners of the foot there and how you're gently rocking back and forth, forward and back, side to side, constantly readjusting your balance of the standing foot. Take one more big breath in here. And release as you breathe out. Shake it up. Let's go to the other side. All weight comes to the right foot. Left knee is pointing straight out to the side. Keep the toes on the ground. Set the sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise it up so your heel comes underneath the knee. Or come all the way up on the thigh. Don't be surprised if this leg wants a different spot, different position. Our sides are not symmetrical, even though they look like it. You can keep your hands on your hips, bring your hands to heart center, or inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Bring your awareness back into that standing foot. Just notice what it's doing. Feel those points of contact where your foot is pushing into the ground. Take one more deep breath in here. And release as you breathe out. Shake it all out. A ragdoll pose. Feet come hip width distance apart. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips. Once you get down, relax your head and neck down and grab for opposite elbows. Gently rock side to side, bend one knee and then the other to the little swaying motion going on. Imagine you can feel all the kinks falling right out of your spine through the top of your head into the ground. Before we release, just notice how your arms are crossed. We're going to cross them the opposite way the next time we come in. Release your hands down to the ground. Weight comes to the fingers, heels to the feet back together again. Bend your knees, inhale, rising up to standing nice and slow. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. And chair pose. We're going to do a twisted chair pose today. You can have your big toes touching with some space between the heels, or you can open up your feet, bringing your feet a few inches apart from each other, kind of on 2 different train tracks. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, sitting back into the chair. Push your hips down and back. Wiggle your toes, bringing the weight into the heels. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting around to the right. Tuck your left elbow outside the right knee and push your hands together to come nice and deep into that twist. If it's okay on your neck, you can bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. Release on an inhale, coming to half lift. And fold forward as you breathe out. Rising up to standing on a breath in, bend your knees, roll your spine, float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, sitting back deep into your chair, pushing your hips down and back. Wiggle your toes. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, stretching the spine really long. Exhale, twisting to the left. Tuck your right elbow outside the left knee. Push your hands together. If it's okay, on your neck, bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. Release on an inhale, come to half lift. Exhale, folding forward, relax the upper body down. Back into ragdoll pose, bring your fingers to the mat. Weight comes to the fingers to heel, so your feet out wide. Grabbing for opposite elbows, cross your arms the awkward way. And rock side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Release your hands down to the ground. Weight comes to your fingers to heel, toe your feet back together again. Half lift, breathing in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to your high plank. Let's come into a modified side plank. Drop your right knee down to the mat and kick your right foot off the side of the mat at a 90-degree angle. Roll onto the big toe side of the left foot. Lift your left arm up to the sky, opening up your body towards the side. If this is enough, you can stay right here. If you want a little bit more, you can lift the left leg up as well. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, release and switch sides. Plant your left hand down on the mat. Drop the left knee down and kick your left foot off the side of the mat at a 90-degree angle. Rolling onto the big toe side of the right foot, opening up the hips toward the side wall. Stretch your right fingers up to the sky. If it's okay on the neck, bring the gaze up towards the upper hand. You can stay right here, or you can begin to float that right foot up as well. Take one more big breath in. And release. Come all the way down onto your belly. You can stack your hands and rest the forehead on the stacked hands. Or you can rest on a cheek and wrap your hands back behind towards your hips, palms facing up. Bring your chin back to the mat. Hands come behind you. Interlace your fingers behind your back. On a breath in, push through your hands, peeling the chest up off the mat. Locust pose. If it's okay on your back, you can lift your feet up as well. Keep your gaze really low on the ground in front of you to protect your neck. One more deep breath and lift even higher. And release. If your head was turned to one side, turn it to the other side. Or you can stack your hands and rest your forehead. Close your eyes. Reconnect with your breath. Bring your chin to the mat, coming into baby cobra 3 times. Plant your hands right underneath your shoulders. On a breath in, peel just the chest up off the mat, keeping your elbows bent. And exhale, lowering your chest back down. 2 more times with the breath. Inhaling to lift. Exhale, lowering back down. Last time. And let's come up to a seat. Inhale, push your chest up. Roll over your knees, swing your legs around to the side. Coming into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Soles of the feet come together, knees open out wide to the sides. If your hips are really tight, your knees might be up really high, that's okay. Whatever feels right is fine. Interlace your fingers, tuck them underneath the toes or just in front of the toes, pushing down on your knees, lift up on the spine, take a deep breath in. Lift your chest up on a breath in. Bring your knees in towards each other. Hands come behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips. Gently windshield wiper the knees side to side. Releasing the hips. And make your way onto your back. And coming into a bridge pose. This time we're going to hold our bridge pose. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Plant your hands flat on the mat. Middle fingers just touching the backs of the heels. As you breathe in, lift your hips up. Interlace your fingers underneath your back and scoot your shoulders closer together to lift even higher. Stay really strong in the legs, rooting down to the feet, stretching out the belly. One last big breath in, pushing even higher. And exhale, release back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Hug your knees into your chest or wrap your arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, cannonball, lifting the forehead up to the knees. Squeeze everything into a tight little ball. Release your head back down to the mat. Coming into a supine twist here. Open out your arms wide in a T. Float your legs in a tabletop, 90 degrees in the knees and hips. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, dropping the knees down together to the right, all the way to the floor. Trying to keep that 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Right fingers can tuck inside the crease of the left knee to help them stay down. And bring your gaze over to your left hand to complete your twist. Release your right hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Exhale, dropping them down towards the left. Left fingers tuck inside the crease of the right knee. And gaze comes over to the right hand. Release your left hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Coming into a shoulder stand, point your toes straight up towards the sky. If this is enough, you can stay right here. If you want to try for a full shoulder stand, you can plant your hands flat on the mat behind you and start to peel your lower back up off the mat. Support the lower back with the hands, and then start bringing the toes, pointing back up towards the sky. Make sure not to turn your head side to side here. You don't have to have your toes straight up, just reaching in that direction as close as you can come. One more deep breath in. Exhale to plow pose. Drop your feet overhead, reaching towards the ground, but they don't need to touch. You can release your hands back out on the mat behind you to help with balance. Come back up to shoulder stand on a breath in. As you breathe out, release, bend your knees, gently lower your back down to the mat, and make your way to Savasana. If there's any last pose we didn't get to in class that you'd like to take, you can take that now. Otherwise, just find the most comfortable, relaxing position you can on your mat. If you'd like to try Vinyasa Kirani, legs up the wall, you can bring your mat over to a wall and send your feet up the wall. Lift your heart up, snuggle the shoulders down the back. Rock your head side to side, letting your head fall back to its natural center point. Find whatever comfortable position your legs want to be in, straight out, or the soles of the feet together, or maybe knees pointing up to the sky with the block under the back. And just relax into the mat. If it's helpful, you can do another body scan here, checking for any tension. And if you find it, imagine it melting away into the ground. Release your body. Release your breath, making your way back to natural breathing. And release your mind, just watching your thoughts come and go like birds in the treetop. You see them and then they fly away and disappear to be replaced by something new. Find a few moments of stillness to complete your practice today. Blink your eyes open. Start to make your way back up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me today for yoga. Namaste.